ようこそ、私の授業へ. I'm Madame Sensei. I'm aligning the Duolingo skills with my in-person classes and explaining all the little bits and pieces that Duolingo doesn't really dive into. So in this video series, I'm going to show you all the particles for each of the skills, kanji for this skill, and we're getting into the kanji with this skill, any grammar that the skill introduces, and we'll talk about sentences as a whole, and then any culture that comes up, because you cannot divorce language from culture. Now, this video I am going to split into two sections because there is so much new kanji introduced. And I want to keep the videos short so you can get up and stretch in between them. So the first half is just going to be kanji. We're just going to look at the kanji that's going to occur. This is Intro 1. We are now on Intro 1. So kanji, that kan, you may have heard of the Han Dynasty in China. That's when kanji came to Japan. That it became a K in Japanese, and it became an H in modern Chinese. So when you hear Han Dynasty, that's when the Chinese came and began teaching the Japanese how to read and write, because the Japanese didn't have a written language at the time. They only had a spoken language. So this is all the tips that Duolingo gives. You can read that yourself. But again, let me explain. So China came through Korea. So if you ever get interested in learning Korean, it's kind of the same story there. And to Japan. And Japan had a nice spoken language. Korea had a spoken language. And neither country had ever thought about writing it down before. And so China taught them how to write it down. Now, you know how we have ketchup and ketchup? I found this in The Simpsons, of course. So this is different waves of Chinese immigrants coming to America, giving us two different spellings for ketchup, and maybe even two different pronunciations at one time. So this happened in Japan too. Different waves of Chinese came through, and they pronounced things a little different. They spelled things a little different. Time had passed. China is a huge country. Look at that. It's so huge. And there's lots of mountainous regions. So within China, there is such a discrepancy with how things are pronounced that sometimes when I'm in China, I can write things down and show them to people, but I can't pronounce it the way the certain region is pronouncing it, okay? That's why you have Cantonese, which is considered to be a different language than Mandarin. So anyway, what this means for kanji is that there's going to be, first of all, the original Japanese pronunciation. The Japanese already knew how to pronounce their own language. They were just using a symbol from another language. Then there'll be a pronunciation that's a Japanese accent of the Chinese at the time. Okay, so sometimes we'll have two pronunciations for one kanji. Sometimes another wave of Chinese came through to trade with Japan, and they were from a different area, or they were from a different, 50, 100 years later, and the language had changed and they pronounced it differently. And so different pronunciations came to Japan. Also, as more and more people began studying Chinese in Japan, they began being able to pronounce Chinese better. So eventually, occasionally, they would add another pronunciation for something that was already introduced to them. All right, so let's see, Duolingo talks about what we call the dakuon, the muddy sound, which will sometimes happen in the middle of words when we combine kanji together. I will show you every time that comes up. Okay, and they give these example kanji, but actually they introduce more than that in this one. So let's just go through them slowly, and I'll show you what they are. The first one started out being a circle that got carved into rock, that got carved into bronze bells and everything. And the little dot in the middle means, hey, it's a sphere, okay? That's really, really hard to carve. And so eventually it got kind of squared off, okay, into this. Now, every single time you write any kanji in Japanese, in Chinese too, you're always writing left to right, top to bottom as much as possible, okay? So notice the stroke order here. We've got down, okay, so we got the down. Then we've got across and down. Don't pick up your pen here. Cross the middle, cross the bottom. Obviously, this is hard for me to do with a computer mouse. But once you get that into your muscle memory, all kanji will be easy, okay? So start with the box and just write the box over and over and over again. Left side, we'll talk about the box today. Let me switch to black so that you can see it better. Left side, across and down without picking up the pen, and then cross the bottom, okay? Now in this case, that little dot in the center got stretched out to be a line, so we're gonna do that line first. Now the deal is that, remember, China invented silk also, and so they had these beautiful silk sleeves, and they didn't want to drag their beautiful silk sleeves through black ink as they were writing. And so deciding on this stroke order meant that the ink had a chance to dry and your sleeves would stay out of it while you were writing. Okay, so this stroke order is crucial. You cannot change it. All right, so this is pronounced nichi. Sometimes it's pronounced hi. Sometimes it's pronounced ka. Sometimes it's pronounced jitsu. And it's going to depend basically on what it means and what word it's in, okay? When is the sun up in the sky? Why, it's up in the sky during the daytime. So sometimes we're going to use a different pronunciation to say, hey, this is a day, as opposed to the sun, okay? Konnichiwa, how is this day? Hello, okay? So in that case, the nichi means day. Hi generally just means sun, okay? For right now, I'd say hi and nichi are the two main pronunciations. Nichiyobi has two of those pronunciations, right? Sunday. Nichi, that's sun. Yo, that's day of the week. And then this hi turns into bi. Nichiyobi, that's sun day. We get both in one word. And you know what? I'm just going to type that right here so you can see what it looks like. Nichiyobi. Okay, that's hiragana. Bam, that's the kanji. We've got the nichi, the yo, and the bi. And you see these are the exact same kanji. They're pronounced differently. Okay, now Duolingo introduces origin next, but as a teacher, I can tell you I never do origin next because I am big into memory tricks and I want you to build on what you already know. So before I teach this one, I teach this kanji right here. What does it kind of look like? Why, this is a tree. See, I can just draw this. That's lovely with the mouse. I'm the woman who loves to read comic books, but I can't draw worth a darn. So this is pronounced ki, and it means tree. And when you want to talk about the wood in the tree, you'll probably pronounce it moku or boku. Okay? So this is across. Let me try and do this correctly with the mouse. Go straight across. Go down. Oops, that should be straight. Swoopy to the left. Swoopy to the right. Obviously, I stink with a computer mouse. This is pronounced ki. Okay? Now that means tree. So let's say hypothetically you have a tree and you put the roots on it. The roots, sorry. I'm showing where all over the country I've lived. You put the roots on the tree and this is going to mean the origin of the tree. Okay? And it can also mean book. Books come from trees. Let's leave it at that. It's a little more complicated than that, but sure. Okay, this is pronounced hon. Moto when you mean like it's the foundation or the origin, but generally it's pronounced hon, especially when it means book. All right, so now we can put them together. We put nichi next to hon, and we get nihon, sometimes pronounced nippon, like a USA. It'll be nippon, okay? So let me explain where this comes from. Marco Polo came to China, and he didn't get all the way to Japan. He just said, hey, guys, what's that country over there? And they said, that's where the sun comes up. Okay, the origin of the sun, because it's the east. Okay, so in Chinese, this is Erbon. Let's see if I can pronounce it properly. I am studying Mandarin. Erbon, okay? So Marco Polo is like, well, how do I write that in Italian? I don't really hear the sound in the front because I'm not that good with Chinese yet. It sounds kind of like a to me. an H sound. And I'm Italian, so we write our H's with J's. So let me try writing it like that. And then eventually it got changed to Japon. The B got flipped upside down, and nowadays, of course, we say Japan. So that's where that word comes from. See, I'm learning languages too. You can learn Japanese super easy because I know how easy it is to study languages. All right, the next one is a stick figure. It's supposed to look like, here's the head, and let's not put any arms on, but if we did, they'd be like that. Okay, it's super easy. We're just going to swoopy down and swoopy this way. Okay, this is pronounced hito. That h sound, don't open your mouth all the way for it. Keep your tongue close to the top of the roof of your mouth. Okay, hito, hito. It means person. Sometimes it's pronounced jin. Sometimes it's pronounced nin. I will show you in this lesson where it's pronounced jin, okay? Nin, maybe you've heard the word ningen, human. But jin, we're going to see a lot in this lesson. Okay, middle. Started out as being a circle. Well, let's just draw a line through it, okay? And then they squared it off because it's too hard to chisel. Before they had invented ink and paper, they were chiseling. All right, so this is pronounced naka. And you know this in names like Nakamura. And sometimes it's pronounced chu. We're going to see it pronounced both ways in this lesson. Country. All right. Kuni. So here's the deal. You have heaven and you have earth, and a king connects, let's see if I can get to move, connects heaven and earth. So this means king when you put it together like that. This right here is a jewel that the king is holding. And where is the king? Why, he's in his country. All right. Don't forget that stroke order, that box stroke order. We've got down, across, and down. Okay, then we're going to start doing the top, do the long middle part, do the horizontal middle part. Okay, do the bottom of the king, his feet, do his jewel, and then close the whole box, which is the country that he's in. Okay, this is actually a second grade kanji, so congratulations, you've made it to second grade now. Ta, sometimes pronounced den. This is rice patty, and I put a picture in so you can see how this comes from. It's supposed to look like squared off again because it's too hard to chisel, but you've got these little furrows for water. And when I went to college, I passed so many rice patties every day on my way to college. It was so cool. You've heard top before. There's a car manufacturer called Honda. The original rice patty, Honda. Maybe you even drive a Honda. All right, the next one, Duolingo doesn't have it in their tips, but this is supposed to look like a plant growing up out of the ground. Okay, it's going out of the ground. So this is pronounced deru, and it means to go out. Okay, now look. Here's the kanji. Here's a little piece of hiragana right after it. Okay, that hiragana is going to change depending on what you do with the verb. Dekakemasu, I'm going out. Demasu, another way to say I'm going out. A more polite way. Demasen, I don't go out. We want to change this. And this is the frustration that the Japanese had as they were learning Chinese. They're like, yeah, these symbols are all very pretty, but we need to be able to inflect our verbs. So whenever you see a verb, it's going to have the kanji and it's going to have some hiragana right after it, okay? You can also pronounce this dasu. If you see a su after it, you know automatically this is pronounced da, not de. This is deru. Dasu means to take out, or like, I don't know, you're going to turn in your homework to me, you're going to dashimasu. Okay, you turn it, you like put it out to me. Okay? Now the onyomi, the Chinese pronunciation, is shutsu. And the onyomi is always written in katakana to show it's a foreign word. It's like us writing Latin in italics. Okay, so that's exactly the same thing. But I wrote it here in hiragana so you can read it a little better. If it's part of a combination of kanji, we'll pronounce it shutsu. If it's a verb all on its own, okay, it'll be deru, dasu. Oh, we've got deguchi. I could add that. Deguchi. The exit, the going out door. We'll talk about kuchi in a second, okay? All right, in the Duolingo lesson, we're going to see shushin. Shushin. It's this one plus this one right here, me. You normally pronounce me. This means like yourself or your body. It's not technically body. There's another kanji for body, but it's a way to say, oh, I don't know, your ego, your individualness, okay? So together, shushin, shushin. This is going to be like you come from a place. I don't think I showed you the stroke order for the previous one. We're going to go straight down, and then we go down and then across, and then pick up your pen and go down here, okay? Let me see if I can show you. Go straight down, go down and across, and then pick up your pen, and then come down from the top. Oh, lovely mouse. And then same thing on the bottom. Go across, pick up your pen, and go down. Okay? Me, a little more complicated, because it's a more complicated. This is a third grade kanji. So now you graduated to third grade. Okay, we got a little line here, and then we go down, and then we go across and down, just like we always do for boxes. I'm telling you, if you can get that in your muscle memory, you've got most kanji, okay? Then go the top line, and then the bottom line, and then we're going to go this long part right here. Oh, this bottom line goes all the way down, and then a little hook, and then this here, and then cross, swoopy down here. Swoopy down is a technical word. All right, now we've got a bunch that Duolingo dumps on you with no explanation, and I really want to explain this. Okay, so here, this is another plant coming out of the ground. This is ikiru, which means to live. Okay, watashi wa ikimasu. I live. All right. Okay, it can also be pronounced umareru. Notice there's a ki here, there's a ma here, there's a deru. Umareru is to be born. Okay, yes, you can also do umu, like I've given birth. Okay, umu. So look for the kanji, look for the hiragana right after it, and that will tell you how this is going to be pronounced. Okay. For its onyomi, its Chinese pronunciation, it's either sei or shou, depending on what you want to do with it. And today we're going to use the Chinese pronunciation of sei. Okay, so now I'm going to show you this kanji, which is pronounced saki. Saki means before. If you're at a door with someone, you might say, o saki ni dozo. You go first, okay? Sometimes it's pronounced sen, and it means before. So here we have sensei, the life that comes before. So that's the sensei is going to be smarter than you because they've been around longer than you, right? Sensei. Swoopy here. Cross the plus, then the top part of the plus. Cross, always left to right, top to bottom as much as possible. Swoopy down, and then this side they're not symmetrical. Okay? Sensei. Remember, get a notebook and write these down because you're not going to remember them just at looking at Duolingo. You're not going to remember them just typing. You'll only remember them by writing. I had one class that was just the teacher would give us a kanji and we would have to write it. This is in Japan, okay? It's typical Japanese class. The teacher would give us a kanji and we would have to write the same darn kanji over and over and over for an hour as he walked up and down the aisles of the classroom commenting on whether or not our kanji looked good, okay? That is a very typical Japanese class. They boast a 99% literacy rate because of this, all right? So you get out your note paper and you write as much as possible. All right, the next one I'm going to show you, first of all, I have to tell you about ko. Ko means child. This is another stick figure, okay? This is supposed to be the head, and this is the arms, and the baby is swaddled. Okay, so it's baby or child. Used to be a very common ending for a girl's name, and before that it was a very common ending for a boy's name. You know how these things change over time, right? So this is ko, and normally I would never teach this next kanji without teaching ko, because it's so much easier once you see ko. All right, so let me just go ahead and flip. Oh, there's ko right there. I put it there. Duolingo does not have ko yet, okay? Make the top just like you're doing katakana ma, okay? Come all the way down, and then make the arms. All right, so that's ko. But what Duolingo introduces you right now is this, which is pronounced manabu. Manabu. That's a verb that means, let's see, we have a child, and the child is under a roof. What's the child doing? He's studying. This means to study. This is one of the ways to say to study. Okay, manabu. Duolingo will not introduce that pronunciation yet. They will introduce gaku. Gaku. So now I can put gaku next to sei, gakusei, a life that studies. That's a student. Gakusei. Okay? Just because I want you to know this, Duolingo doesn't have it yet. Let me move these off for a second so you can see. You're going to hear this word a lot. This is ko. Here's our tree right here. Cross it. Go straight down, swoopy to the left, swoopy to the right. So you know that this kanji has something to do with wood or trees, okay? Here we're going to come down on the top, and we're going to cross left to right, swoopy, 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 all right? So this is a building. Gakko is a school. You're never going to see ko on its own, okay? It's always with something like gakko. Gakko is school. And I want you to know that because you're going to hear it so much, especially now that you know gaku. Okay? Is there anything else that was ko? All right, that was it for that page. All right, so now I need to tell you about kuchi. Duolingo doesn't tell you about kuchi, but you need to know it because it's the easiest kanji to write. It's that box is so, okay, it's not the easiest kanji to write. The number 1 is the easiest kanji to write. But this box is so crucial to everything. Go down, across and down, don't pick up your pen, and then cross the bottom. I'll be good at writing with a mouse one of these days. Okay, so for what I want to show you for this is this word that Duolingo introduces. So this is your mouth, okay? It could be entrance. We just saw it in deguchi for entrance because it's like the mouth of the building, okay? Not entrance, exit, sorry. Exit. Iriguchi is the entrance. So here we've got kuchi on the bottom. And these are a bunch of words coming out of your mouth. This is to say, and it's pronounced iu. And I wanted to show you, here's the kanji. Iu is how it's pronounced. When we put it into polite mas form, it's going to be imas. And I want to show you that I is doubled. It's not imas. Imas means exist. Imas. There's a difference. Try saying it. Say imas. Imas. All right, so this is the stroke order for that. When I typewrite it, it's going to come out flat, but generally we make this a little slanty. Then go cross, cross, cross. Notice they are not all the same size. And then do our friend the box, that little mouth at the bottom. Okay? All right, so this is where I'm going to stop this video. This is part A of Intro 1. Part B will be the very next video, but I knew that there was going to be too many kanji. And get up and stretch right now. It's good for your brain. If you get up and stretch, go for a little walk, let the knowledge sink in a little bit, and then you'll be ready to tackle the rest of the skill.